Today, we're going to learn how to glaze our clay. The glazes are in the back. You're going to go to the back table. You're going to choose 3 colors of glazes. You can always go back and get more, but I want you to start with 3. You're going to get as many paintbrushes as you need, and then you are going to go back to your table and begin glazing your piece. I'm going to hand out your clay pieces. Each piece is marked with your ID number. It's going to come from the shelf that's at the front of the room. Here is what is going to be on your table. You'll have a water bucket set up which has water in the scrubby side and a sponge. And you'll also have a little cup of green glaze, which is really clear glaze. Once it fires in the kiln, it will turn clear. Now, it doesn't matter what piece you're doing. If you're doing ice cream cones, if you're doing an ice cream sandwich, if you're doing the cupcake or the cake box, I don't want you to paint where the clay pieces are going to touch or the bottoms of any of your clay pieces. Now we're going to put our first coat on. The first coat is going to take kind of a lot of paint. You're going to cover the top of all of your pieces, but not the bottoms or where the clay will touch. So where the lid sits on the piece, you're not going to paint that part. If you do get paint on it, we have a way to get that off. Now you're going to need to let each coat dry completely between painting the second or third coat. You see where it's chalky and then it's kind of wet on the edges? We need the whole thing to be chalky, kind of like sidewalk chalk paint. It's going to be really dry. It needs to be dry before you start your second coat. Now this second coat is going to go on a lot faster than the first coat did, and it's going to use a lot less paint. So it's going to go pretty quickly as you spread it over that first coat. Now, don't forget to dry between coats. Sometimes, if you do it thin enough, it will have already dried. You won't have to go to the fan each time, but if you do, go to the fan. Now, you're going to use your brush and you're going to add your third coat. Again, this one's going to go on pretty quickly. It's not going to take that much paint this time. The first coat always takes the most. Second, a little less. And then the third, even less than that. Again, don't forget to let it dry between coats. Now for the last piece, I need you to make sure that that brush is very clean. We don't want any other glaze on that brush when we do this last coat. We're going to use that cup of green glaze that is on your desk. It's actually clear. It's going to make your piece super shiny. I know it looks weird that you're painting this green color on your piece, but I promise it's going to turn out so beautiful. That green is just so you know where you have already painted. Now it's time to clean up any drips we may have or accidental paintings on any pieces we don't need. So there are 2 pieces of carpet by the sinks. They are wet. We are going to use that carpet to wash off any of those drips. So you're going to rub the bottom of each of your pieces. Now, ta-da, all the drips are gone. Now we're going to rub that edge where they're going to sit together And ta-da! They're all gone. It's nice and clean. We're going to rub the top of our piece so that there's no drips on the bottom there where we had held it. Sometimes it gets on our fingers. Now we're going to stack those two together and we're going to put them back on your teacher's shelf. So find your teacher and put it below her name. Now it's time to clean up our setup. So we're going to take our water bucket. We're going to rinse out the water. We're going to squeeze out our sponge and get it clean. We're going to put it back on the table nice and clean. Now we are going to wash our brush. So I'm going to put some soap in my hand and scrub my brush around in my hand really good, rinsing it off. I'm going to use that little scrubber that's in the bottom of the sink, and I'm going to rinse that off, and then I'm going to put my clean brush back in the trays that are on the glaze table. Now the last thing you have to do is clean out your paint palette. You want to rub your thumbs down into the paint palette to get all of that glaze out. Scrub it off really good. Shake it off in the sink so it's not drippy. And we want to go put it back in the bucket that we got it from on the glazing table. And that's it. You're all done. Thanks for cleaning up after yourself.